Hi guys, today I'm going to be putting the tier 12 animals of the same tier as the eagle into a tier list. There are 5 tier 12 animals, namely the wolverine, the eagle, the rhino, the bison and the shark. We'll be looking at several key stats today. First, we'll be looking at their mobility. Mobility takes into account their speed and their ability to climb hills. Next, we'll be looking at their hunting ability. This takes into account not just their speed, but also the effectiveness of their special ability in catching prey. For example, the rhino's special ability allows it to charge into animals and stun them, helping it kill player-controlled animals, increasing its hunting score. Next, we'll look at the animal's farming ability. This takes into account how good an animal is at farming non-player controlled food sources such as bees or ducks. For example, the bison can use its ability to damage cacti. This makes it easier for the bison to farm, so I'll give it a higher score for farming. Lastly, we'll be looking at the animal's ability to escape. For example, an eagle can fly away from predators, so I'm going to give it a high defense score. We then look at an animal's overall average before deciding its tier. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. We'll start with the wolverine. So I'm going to give it a score of 4 for mobility, although it can't climb on hills as it's pretty fast and can go in and out of the Arctic without being affected. It's not your typical Arctic animal as it doesn't receive heat damage when it enters the land terrain. For hunting, I'm only giving it a 3 as it can't climb on hills, meaning that it's really hard for the wolverine to catch its main target, the polar bear, as polar bears can climb on hills. Its special ability stuns its prey, but also knocks the animals back, making it counterproductive sometimes and harder for the wolverine to catch player-controlled animals. For farming, I'm going to give it a 4.5. It's the only tier 12 animal whose ability can hit several animals at a time, helping it farm really fast. Its ability can take out nearly 1/3 of the health of ducks, and it can affect ducks around it. It can also farm in ponds both in and out of the Arctic as it does not receive heat damage, which is why I think it's the best for farming among tier 12 animals. I would have given it a score of 5 in fact if it could climb on hills. Lastly, I'll give it a score of 3.5 for escaping. It can't climb on hills, and unlike the eagle or the rhino, it can't use its ability to escape, but because of its moderately high speed, ability to knock back predators, and the fact that there are usually not many predators in the Arctic, I'm still giving it a standard score of 3.5. Alright, my average score for the wolverine is 3.875, so it's a B tier. Alright, let's look at the eagle now. It's the only tier 12 animal that can climb on hills, so I'm giving it a score of 4 for mobility, although it doesn't move very fast and is terrible in mud and water. It's pretty good at hunting, especially hunting fishes, as it can literally drag them out. However, its prey may get stolen or escape after being dropped, as the eagle takes some time to land after it has dropped its prey. Therefore, I'm only giving it a 4 for hunting. As for farming, I'm giving it a 3.5 as its ability can only target one prey at a time and is pretty slow in water, making it really hard to farm ducks as an eagle. However, being the only tier 12 animal which can climb on hills, it has an extra source of food in coconuts and bananas as well. Alright, as an eagle, what do you do when you see a predator approaching? When a predator approaches, you fly away, right? So while that in itself may boast a strong cause for a defense score of 5 for the eagle, I'm only giving the eagle a 4.5 defense score as the eagle doesn't fare well in mud and water. On average, the eagle has a score of 4, so it's an A tier. Alright, let's look at the rhino now. It's pretty fast, but it can't climb on hills, and unlike the wolverine, which can switch between the Arctic and land, the rhino can't do so, so I'm only giving it a score of 3.5 for mobility. On the other hand, I'm giving it a score of 4 for hunting. Its ability is very useful, and apart from helping it get close up to prey, it also stuns the prey, making it easier for the rhino to finish the prey off. However, it's really slow in water and it can't climb on hills, so I'm only giving a score of 4 for hunting because prey could escape if they get into hills or into water. For farming, I'm giving it a score of 3.5 as it can't climb on hills and has an ability which isn't very useful for farming non-moving objects such as cloud mushrooms. However, it's pretty fast in both land and sometimes water, so I'm still giving it a standard score of 3.5 for farming. For defense, I'm giving it a score of 4. Its high speed allows it to evade predators easily, although it could get trapped by hills and may accidentally charge straight into a predator. Usually we're not that lucky to just charge straight into a predator, so I'm still giving rhino a decent score of 4 for defense because it can literally charge away from predators. So overall, the rhino has a score of 3.75, so it's a B tier. Alright, let's look at the bison now. It's rather large and it can't climb on hills. and this restricts its mobility in some ways. However, it's pretty fast, so I'm still going to give it a standard score of 3.5 for mobility. Okay, so for hunting, its ability is sometimes counterproductive because it knocks the prey really far back. Honestly, I don't think it's very good at hunting because of the far knockback. Because this, in my opinion, is rather counterproductive. However, you can even kill off predators such as Komodo dragon or black widows by repeatedly ramming them with a pair of teammates. Therefore, I'm going to give it a score of 3.5 for hunting, largely because it's fast and with teammates can take down even predators. So farming, I'm giving it a score of 4.5 as its special ability can damage cactuses and aloe veras, enabling it to finish them off pretty quickly. Cactus give around 28,000 XP and aloe vera gives around 19,000 XP. So in my opinion, the bison is pretty good at farming because just finishing off around 5 cactuses could easily get it the next year. For defense, I'm giving the bison a score of 4 as its fast movement speed allows it to evade most predators. It can knock predators like the Komodo dragon and black widow back. So in my opinion, its ability is very useful for escaping. So like the rhino, it can also use its ability to charge away, but when doing so, it may accidentally knock into cactuses or Venus flytraps, causing it to lose health. So overall, I'm still giving the bison a score of 4 for defense. Overall, the bison has a rating of 3.875, making it a B tier as well. Alright, let's move on to our last character, the shark. Well, I mean, it's a fish, so it obviously can't climb on hills, but because it's a fish, it can dive under the hills. So I'm going to give it a good score of 4.5 for mobility because it's really good at maneuvering in water. As for hunting, I'm giving the shark a score of 4. Its ability does a lot of damage and bleeding damage. It's pretty fast, faster than its main target, the octopus in fact, and can dive for long periods of time, allowing it to ambush other animals. However, because this is the ocean and the prey may dive away before the shark can finish them off, I'm only giving the shark a score of 4, because prey, many of the time, do manage to dive away. So, as for farming, I'm going to give a shark a score of 3.5 as its ability isn't very useful for farming. This is because it only targets one prey at a time. Furthermore, the shark's main source of food when farming are snails, but snails are way harder to kill than land animals such as ducks, as they can go into their shell, hence one would need many more bites to kill a snail. However, the shark can move around quickly to gather seaweed and eat conch shells, so I'm still giving it a standard score of 3.5 for farming. As for defense, I'm giving the shark a score of 4. Although it's really fast and can dive underwater for long periods of time, I'm not going to give it a score of 4 or higher, because its two main predators, the blue whale and the orca, travel faster than it. On the other hand, the sea monster and the kraken can suck the shark in, rendering the shark almost helpless in this kind of situations. Overall, the shark has a score of a 4 for the defense. Alright, so looking at all the stats, the shark has a score of 4. This makes it an A tier. Alright guys, so this is my final table. This is mostly my opinion, though based off several real established facts. While it may seem the shark and the eagle are better because they are A tier, I tend not to choose these two characters as I think that it's easier to farm and grind XP as a wolverine or a bison. Therefore, there's no best tier 12 animal per se, it's down to personal preference. I would really appreciate if players of various skill levels could give their opinions of this tier list. However, if you really like the concept of this video, please do mention so in the comment section. I would really appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe as well, as I'll take it as a sign that I should do a tier list for the elephant and dragon tiers as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and nonetheless,